Yes, 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 yeah. Welcome to the crossover edition of the Cliff Notes Podcast. It's the crossover edition, man, because have an opportunity to connect with the Fitness is a Habit brand on this one. Excited to have this conversation, really sparked by like a social media post, which is really cool, and I get a chance to chop it up with this cat, Amir Armstrong, live on the Cliff Notes Podcast / Fitness is a Habit. What's good with you, man?
What's good? What's good? Thank you so much for having me on here. Appreciate you.
Come on, bruh. Like I said, man, this is really dope because it truly was sparked by an internet post that I saw for the Deadstock Running Club. So I saw that and I reached out because I was like, yo, this is dope. Would you be down to come on the podcast? And you was like, yeah, so cool. 100%. And then, I got to really like dive in and do my research, right? And so I started scrolling through and I was like, yo, there's like layers to this, man, like a ton of stuff to talk about. But since that's where it started, man, let's talk about that first, man. Talk to me about the Deadstock Run Club and like what it is and how it got started and your involvement in it and the whole nine.
For sure. So it's funny because the Run Club actually started last year, like right before the pandemic.
Okay.
Ian from Deadstock, he actually had a pass for like Hood to Coast.
Okay.
So he's like, yo, Amir, you're running Hood to Coast with us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Because like it's 10 miles. Now, mind you, I ran track, but right. I was a jumper. So
okay.
10 miles is different, Mm-hmm. And I'm like, also, who's us? And he goes, me and the baristas. So I'm just like, okay, all right, you know what? Like, I'll do it. It sounds like it'd be fun. Get a good way to get back into shape and whatnot. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, if we're going to do this, like, we have to start training. Like, we can't just show up. Like, I don't think y'all know how this works. We can't just show up and just go out there. And Ian was like, you know what? You're right. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we ended up just getting together, a small group of us, just to get some runs in.
Yeah.
They weren't long, about 2 miles to 3 miles. Mm-hmm. We would start at Deadstock. And this was like at 8 o'clock at night. Also, which was, 8 o'clock in Chinatown, running around.
Right.
Also very different.
Motivation.
So that's pretty much how it got started. Now, when the pandemic hit, mm-hmm. we were about to open. It's funny, it was a week before we were going to open to the public, right?
Yeah.
We had to post the logo.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's so hype about it, like, oh, I'll be there next week. Mind you, I'm in the Bay.
Yeah.
Like for work.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, cool. It's about to take off.
Yeah.
I'm watching the NBA game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was New Orleans was playing.
Yeah.
And they just started sending people home.
So crazy, bro.
Like, go home.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I'm in a hotel by myself,
mm-hmm.
About 900 miles from the crib.
Right.
Like, okay, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we put it on pause, of course. And then I want to say probably back in March of this year, I tapped in like, hey, I want to start doing this again.
Yeah.
I think we should. People are getting vaxxed, kind of gauging people's comfort levels.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, cool. And I'm like, I'm serious.
Yeah.
So I actually started running by myself.
Okay.
I would start running from the shop and just doing the loop.
Yeah.
And then I would have a couple people join me.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, you serious? You really, like, we're going to bring this back then?
Right.
So it was like me and like 3 other people
mm-hmm.
and then 10 other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, all right, cool. Let's roll it out again.
Yeah.
So we rolled it out beginning of June, and the response is like what everybody wanted. Trying to find a space, and we wanted to relaunch it. Like, we weren't running Hood to Coast anymore.
Right.
But I wanted a place for people that look like me, feeling
mm-hmm. comfortable
running, no matter your fitness level.
Right.
Like I feel like, I worked in run specialty with a brand called Deodora, and I'll go to these different running events and things like that.
Yeah.
And there was very much a lack of diversity. Also, the timing was, pull up at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And people are getting off work. People have kids, all types of things, you know. So they have these responsibilities that they have to tend to.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe bump an hour behind, let people go home, get settled in, do what they need to do.
Right.
And then pull up to the run club.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right now we get about 50 to 60 people a week.
So dope, bro.
And and it's something where people now, like, to the point where I didn't realize the impact that it's had in terms of people just connecting with others.
Yeah.
On a level of, hey, we're just not here to like run. It's like, this isn't like some super elite thing that we're doing.
Right.
Now, if you want to do that, cool. All power to you. You
Right.
want to get that power run in?
Right.
Hey, I'll see you at the shop afterwards. But to get people together and basically start conversations, like, you meet folks, and now I'm seeing people work together, working on different projects and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the stuff you hear about, like playing golf or playing tennis. But no, like, we met at Run Club and now we're doing this, that, and the third. And I'm like, wow, this is something like you have a vision for something, but you never know because everyone sees it so differently and what it means to them. It may mean something, which is fine, but everything is based out of love and inclusion, which is just come as yourself. I got a group for everyone. 4 to 5 miles. We got 2 to 3. We even got a walk group.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up.
So I try to get as many people out there to just run at your own pace.
Yeah.
And one thing about it is I make sure no one gets left. So we meet across like the bridges. That's kind of like our thing. The walk group crosses Burnside. My group crosses Morrison. Sometimes we do Hawthorne.
Yeah.
And then the 4 to 5 does the Tillicum.
Got you.
So I'll have I'll have people that go ahead. I'm like, go ahead. I'll meet you at Morrison. I'm gonna go wrangle some people.
Yeah.
So I'm really like running about 4 to 5 miles because I'm running back and forth and just getting people.
Yeah.
But it's just like having people just come together and feeling like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
If I see somebody walk, cool, we can walk.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Let's walk. Let's walk and talk. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll go in the back. They start running again. Hey, I'm gonna go check on those folks. We're gonna jog together. Just talk because I don't know everyone.
Right.
And this was a way for me. I moved somewhere I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
I moved to Portland, didn't know a single person. And now I'm hearing people, hey, I just moved here. I need a community.
Yeah.
Or I'm visiting in town for work or something. I heard about this and this was the highlight of my week.
Yeah.
And to hear those things, you get, I remember one night, to be honest, like I definitely cried.
Yeah.
Because it was just, I wouldn't say overwhelming in a good way, but man, just to see the impact, just to see people smile.
Yeah.
We lost a lot in 2020.
Yep.
One thing I went into this new year was like, I feel like when you go into a new year, everyone talks about what I'm gonna leave behind or what I'm gonna subtract. This year I really want to focus on what I want to add.
Yeah.
Because if I say, I'm gonna leave this alone, I mean there's a void there. What are you gonna fill it with? What are you gonna add? What can we use in terms of like positive words versus negative? We lost way too much, and we're continuing to lose things. Lose people, lose people's mental health, people's emotional health, physical health.
Yep.
So that club means a lot to me, and just if you reaching out and just seeing people post and just being excited and looking forward. I made this joke the other day. I said, so many people look forward to the weekend. I look forward to Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's I genuinely look forward to standing up on that soapbox and just welcoming everyone and seeing just everyone smile. Just has to be
what's
there.
up, bro. It's funny because the Fitness is a Habit brand is really about physical and mental and spiritual wellness. Yeah. And you touch on all of those things, right? Like you said, we've lost so much through the pandemic and continue to lose. And finding ways to come out of that. One of the things that we saw during the pandemic is there was a lot of isolation that happened. Yes. Forced isolation, right? People weren't able to go to work. A lot of people's work went away. People weren't able to connect with their families. I think two of the saddest things that we saw were people whose family members got sick, or people who lost family members and then they were not able to then gather together to be a support system for one another. And so what you talk about in terms of people coming together and building community, like that is so powerful just for not just the physical health part, but the mental health part. Yeah. And for a lot of people, the spiritual health part, just finding people who can, what you describe, bruh, like supporting and uplifting one another in such a positive way. So I think it's so dope that's the foundation of what you folk are doing. And I love that you are mindful of, like some people like me, like I don't get off the last patient I work with during the day is at 6. I'm done at 6:30. You know what I mean? So to be able to try to connect with folk in the past has always been this time thing, but you're saying, nah, like after work, come through, which I think is so dope. So if people are interested in tapping in, like how do they do that?
So they can follow Deadstock Coffee. We're working on some things, maybe get an Instagram account.
Right.
We're still like ground level with everything.
Yeah.
So definitely follow Deadstock Coffee. They can follow me. I mean, on Tuesdays, you've probably seen, I post a lot. There's jokes, there's memes, there's all types of stuff about Run Club. Or even Jen who has, she has her and I met through me switching jobs. I ended up leaving Deodora and going over to Thesis.
Okay.
And at the time, I didn't know she was actually taking another position somewhere else.
Okay.
But we just met on a one-on-one.
Yeah.
First week there. And we're just talking. And she's like, oh, yeah, I used to do like in Chicago, Nike Run Clubs, this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, wait. Like, let's link up and just like run and talk. And she's been, I can't mention Run Club without mentioning Jen Smith because she's been just amazing in terms of the community that she brings, all the work and effort she puts in. She has that 4 to 5 mile group. She's always posting. She's reaches out. We've became very close. Like that's literally my sister. I always got her back. So yeah, definitely follow Deadstock, and they'll definitely let you know. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Deadstock Coffee, we are there.
No doubt. So I'm gonna come through, man. I started my running journey probably about six years ago in terms of like trying to be a runner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And early on, even to a great, not like even now, my journey has always been very individual for a lot of reasons. One, because it's like, man, I don't have the capacity yet to run with other people. And then you get to this place where you start participating in some events and you see the benefit of actually running with other people, like how motivating that is. And so I've talked to a couple people, Destro Destructo, a Boom Bap project in particular. He and I talked a while ago about, man, we should try to get some people together and start running together. This was years ago. And then the homie Senior Chaos, who's relocated to back to Atlanta, of Ultra Beast, he's involved with a run club down there. And I thought, man, it would be so cool to find something like that. So that's why this excites me so much, the idea of finding people that are on the same journey. And like you said, come as you are, like however you find yourself in your current capacity of running, or walking, come through, which I think is so dope. So like I said, be excited for that, and definitely wanted to connect with you on that. One, because I was interested in how to get involved. Two, because I find it so valuable, and I really want to let other people know how to get involved. And so going through and doing my research or trying to do my research and just seeing like the layers and so much of the other things that you were involved with. Shout out to Laundry, man. Laundry is hosting this episode of the Cliff Notes podcast / Fitness is a Habit. Chris is in the building, prepping for things, man. This is such a dope spot. And you mentioned it when I got here today. And the other thing that I see is that you said that you're like you moved to Portland, but already it's like you're so connected with such dope spots. Deadstock, obviously, Deadstock Coffee here at Laundry, man. You moved here from Philly?
Yeah. So a little bit about me in terms of that. I used to work. So my father's side has over 100 years in Philadelphia.
Oh, word.
100 years in Philadelphia. My mother is from Panama.
Okay.
But Yeah, we was born there, spent first couple years of my life there, and we moved about 30 minutes across the bridge into Jersey.
Oh, word.
But it was a lot of back and forth.
Wait, hold up. Yeah, man, like that's my origins. Like
word.
all my folk are from the South, but I was born in Jersey, B.
What part?
I lived in Teaneck until I was like 13.
Oh, you up north. So like
Yeah.
So yeah, we was in South Jersey.
Yeah.
It's Camden County, it's a spot called Sicklerville.
Okay.
What's interesting enough is like when we moved there, I had to be like maybe 4 or 5.
Uh-huh.
There wasn't really much that was there.
Okay.
I literally watched it get built up.
Okay.
And we watched other people from different cities. Sicklerville is like made up. First, it's a very diverse suburb. It's probably about, honestly, maybe 55% African American.
Oh, word.
And most of the people from Philly,
Okay.
from New York, or from Camden.
Okay.
So it's funny, like people move to the area, and like my parents like end up meeting somebody like, oh snap, I grew up with this person's brother or this, that, and the third. Like people I played ball with and whatnot.
Yeah.
And mind you, we be every weekend or every other day, you be back in Philly. So it's like, or Camden or wherever you're from.
Right.
So it's almost like you just laid your head down in one place. Like I just spent summers, like whether it was like in Mount Airy, Uptown.
Yeah.
I hooped out 48 from Brown down at the Pit in West Philly.
Yeah.
Cobbs Creek, Southwest. Like literally, that was like my summer. It was a very interesting upbringing because it's like your family's from the city. You spent time in the city when you was young.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all moved, but y'all going back and forth. So like, it's a lot of different mentalities. Also, a lot of people that I got to meet growing up.
Word.
Yeah, to kind of get back on point. Like I moved here. I was finishing up my master's degree at Westchester University in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I actually went to the Philadelphia campus. Now get this, my grandmother went there. My grandmother was there when, damn near they ain't let black people on the campus. Yeah. Also, you had, if you were a woman, it had 3 years to finish your degree. Because the men were coming back from the war and whatnot, and they had priority.
Got you.
So 3 years to finish your degree.
Yeah.
Shout out to the women out there, all of the women.
And to have to overcome, obviously, the isms, right? She had to overcome the racism. She had to overcome the genderisms. And that's, I mean, yeah, man, that's a dope lineage to be, for you then to go back through and have that connect.
And to be honest, I didn't plan on going to Westchester.
Okay.
So I ended up, I graduated. I had, I went to go to grad school.
Yeah.
I had a couple people write me from like UCF, visit Columbia, NYU. I did pretty decent in undergrad to where I was able to have opportunities where I didn't have to take a GMAT or a GRE.
Oh, word.
To go to grad school. I had like a 3.75 GPA coming out.
Word.
Yeah, as a college athlete too, like at the D1 level, that's why I was like president of my major. I was in like 5 different honor societies. So it was like, cool, I would just want to go get my master's, learn a little bit more, because as a track athlete, you're all year round. Like people don't understand that. Like that's literally from August to, if you make nationals, you till June.
Yeah.
You know, so your whole time you're just competing. Everything is centered around sports. It's hard to intern because you got weights or you have practice twice a day. Like there's these things that people don't realize. So I'm so glad the NCAA is now
taking care of people.
Allowing people to, take care of people, allowing them to take care of themselves. Because I'm missed out on a lot of different things because of, you sell your image and likeness away.
Right.
So you can't even I worked at a Foot Locker. I had to get people to sign off on it just in case you get like a picture taken in campaign.
Right.
So when I graduated, I kind of was like, you know what, let me, just take a step back, figure out some things. I got into St. John's. And then, you also playing the money game in your head, like, this college debt, serious.
Yeah, no joke.
So,
no joke.
Just waiting on some things. And a mentor reached out to me, Mark Williams. He actually got me in contact with University of Nebraska, Lincoln. They were giving me a graduate assistantship for this co-op program that had to do with sport management.
Okay.
But there was a condition for this program: everyone has to take a GMAT. I had about 2 to 3 weeks to take that test.
Yeah.
I never blanked out on a test like that in my life, to the point where it felt like I closed my eyes, and I just remember writing an essay, and I opened them, and it was over.
Wow, B.
It was, what I mean by over, I remember being on John F. Kennedy Boulevard in Philly, walking around like, what just happened? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't even take the train home. I'm like,
Crazy.
what do I tell my parents? Like, yo, I think I just bombed this test.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna let me as a conditional student.
Yeah.
So that was like, I feel like my 22 to 24, I was just taking L's. I was taking L after L. I feel like when you're at such a peak,
Yeah.
you know, you realize like, hey, you're getting starting to get humble, starting to take these things. And I needed that. I needed that. So that was one thing. I just kind of fell flat on my face. It was difficult for me to get a job for whatever reason. I mean, it's hard out here for anybody.
Right.
But, you know, you're just thinking everything's just coming to you. You're doing everything that you're supposed to do. Why isn't this happening?
Yeah.
And I ended up, I remember I ended up getting into Arizona State for sports law and business.
Okay.
And I flew out there for an MLB Diversity Summit.
Oh, word.
It was cool. Same mentor. It just so happened to be that way.
Yeah.
And I just was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
Let me go check it out. Loved it. It was beautiful. Shout out to Scottsdale, Phoenix. Beautiful. A week later, I got in a car accident, totaled my entire car. I've rolled on the side. Somebody popped out on me.
Yeah.
I fishtailed. I was in a truck.
Yeah.
Wasn't going that fast.
Yeah.
And my entire car flipped over. I had to actually kick out the window to get out the car.
It's intense, B.
Yeah. I didn't had a couple bruises, no broken bones.
Yeah.
Lucky to be
It's a blessing,
alive,
bro,
you know,
for real. Yeah.
to be breathing. And that just was like, you know what, I'm not going to go. I need to stay here.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, a month later, Penn Relays is in town. So I'm like, you know what, I'm carless. My job that I was working at, actually, they promoted me and didn't have the funding, so brought me back down.
Oh, snap.
So I'm just like, catching all these L's.
Yeah.
I took some time off, and I was like, let me just go see like my old teammates, a couple of my friends in the track world, go watch them run. I get out 8th and Market from Patco, which is the train system. I look up, and it says Westchester University in Philadelphia. Now, my best friend I went to Delaware State first, and I went to Long Island University, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I was at Delaware State. My old roommate, one of my best friends to this day, Brian Pointer, he was like, just come to Westchester. He's at Westchester and whatnot. And I'm like, I don't want to be home. Like I'm trying to get out of here.
Right.
So I look up and I just remember being like, damn, Brian. I'm like, let me look up and see if they got like what I want to study. Maybe I want to do like communication studies, marketing. Sure enough, communication studies. Ended up just going to school in Philly. At that, it was like a satellite campus that had a bunch of other universities that was under that umbrella. I was the first graduate assistant on that satellite campus for Westchester, Philadelphia. Right.
Okay.
Talk about these L's.
Right.
I come into, it's probably November, and I have a meeting with my immediate supervisor. Amir, you've been doing great. Everything has been amazing. We kind of have to cut the graduates because of the funding within the school system. I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. Like, I've already taken you're just waiting for these things to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that was the most calm I was. It's like that meme of that dog in there, and it's just like everything's burning.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And this professor, literally a day after, reaches out to me, Dr. John Craig reaches out to me, and he says, she's like, hey, like I heard you're a graduate. You just found me on LinkedIn randomly.
Yeah.
Graduates, good to see a young brother like on that campus doing that and the third. And I'm just like, oh, I appreciate you.
Right.
Like, let's grab coffee sometime, since I don't have that anymore.
Right.
I'm like, He doesn't know it at the time.
Right.
He's like, yeah, I would love to like grab lunch. And then I ended up mentioning it and LinkedIn like, yeah, I also just lost my graduate. It's like, oh no, just come to the main campus.
Yeah.
Drive up to Westchester, which is like an hour 15. And I sit down with him and he just takes time to just get to know me. We even do lunch.
Yeah.
Sat in the office. He's like, oh, I'm busy, but I want to get to know you.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, I want you to be my graduate assistant. If you can come up here, you know, once or twice a week, I got you. And right there was like, you always hear this one thing that I kept on hearing from 22 to 23. I'm 28 now.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I hate it. Like, people used to tell me, Amir, everything happened for a reason. Like, I feel like folks had this image of me being, because I did all these things, and it's like, oh, Amir's going to be fine, this, that, and the third.
Right.
I'm sitting here just taking life lessons.
Yeah.
They're not losses, they're just lessons. And I needed that. And I just remember sitting down, like, just driving back, and I'm like, wow, like, someone has me.
Yep.
A higher being has me.
100%. You know? Yeah.
So yeah, and you know, the rest was that. And I ended up interning for Deodora to finish off my master's degree.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That's so crazy, man. And that's the thing that I think is important, bro. Like, I know we all have different belief systems, but when you look at life experiences and you look at how things happen and how we're impacted, I don't think anyone ever has all of the answers, and there are a lot of things that go unanswered. But you know, when we hear stories like yours, man, definitely celebrate the fact that there is a higher power, there is a creator, there is someone who's maneuvering for us and providing opportunities for us, and it's so dope to see you come through that and then have the outlook, the outward pouring of happiness that I see. So like I said, B, when we connected, I'm like, all right, let me and that's one of the things that comes across just in seeing video and photos and things that you post is you have this sense of light that you exude. Appreciate. And I think that it has to come from having those experiences and coming out on the other side and being where you're at. And I think that should be celebrated, you know what I mean? Especially in these times, you know, because so many of us are struggling with finding that. However you label it, whether you label it peace, whether you label it joy, whether you label it however you label it, so many of us are having difficulty finding that. And I think you, like I said, you just exude that, man, and that should be celebrated for real.
Thank you. Like it, you know, I get choked up telling the story right now. Like you can kind of hear my voice. Yeah. But you know, during those times, I also was like, I was utilizing having a psychologist when I was at the university. Yeah. Every week we would meet sports psychologists, but we wouldn't just talk about sports. Yeah. It's literally my life. Like I'm transitioning into the next year, like what is life after this? Yeah. And I tell everyone, you know, mental health has been big these past couple years. And I feel like we have this stigma where it's like, oh, you're crazy if you're going to see a psychologist and this. And, you know, I've never been like the most like level head in terms of like temperament and things like that. Yeah. So where you can admit to it and go seek help, go seek therapy. Yeah. Like even when you don't feel like anything is wrong, you know, it's being proactive about it. And to be able to, you know, I really appreciate you just like telling me this and just, you know, trying to be that light for other people to say, hey, like, you know, I'm here. Yeah. There's other people. There's people there for me. You don't have to go through things alone. Right. And I feel like as a black man, you know, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of also, man, just ego in general, where you really have to starve your ego and say, hey, listen, I do need help. Yeah. I'm not okay. Yeah. You know, and being able to talk like I had my father, me and my father, best friends, my mother and I are close. Yeah. You know, I was fortunate enough to have a support system. I know people that don't have that support system, and that's why I mentor, you know, kids. Some of my background's in nonprofit, so being able to one thing my grandmother has, and it's something that kind of, I guess you would say, would spark ties everything together. Yeah, everything that I do together. Yeah, anything I do has to be tied back to community. Yeah. She wrote in a memoir. She's still alive, but she used to have these notebooks. She was an educator. Yeah. So she used to write, and there's this one book I read when I was like 11, 12, and it was like these prompted questions, and it was like, how do you define success? And she wrote, you know, when you're like 11, 12, singing, you're like, yo, I'm about to get the money, the cars, I'm about to get everything, you know?
Right.
And it literally was the ability to help your fellow human being. And I remember just sitting there stumped like, huh? Yeah. But it's something I live, like that's what I live by today. Like you want to go somewhere and be there for a long time, bring people with you. Yeah. You want to go somewhere and be fast. Yeah, you want to go alone, but are you going to be happy? Yeah. You know, being able to, it's kind of the old adage, teach a man to fish, you know, they fish for a lifetime, pay it forward. Yeah. Literally. Like it's so much love that you can just spread. You talk about the stories I post and everything. I just want to show love to everyone. Yeah. Literally, majority of my Instagram stories is really giving people their flowers. Right. You have to. Right. You have to. Yeah. You know?
And that's one of the things that, man, I've been on heavy, B. Some of it is just having the life experience and just being an older cat, man. You get to this place where you start looking at what's important and what do you value. And then when you get to be my age and you start to see people starting to pass on, and you realize, wow, like life is so finite, you know, and things happen so quickly. And you know, after a while, man, all the RIPs is just like it begins to weigh on you, and it gives you a different perspective. And so I work hard to just try to, like you said, man, give people their flowers now. And then a couple of things, man. I realized that the idea of doing things, like purely doing things for the love, the idea of doing things just because you have the heart to do something for someone else, that's not the norm, right? And oftentimes when you're moving like that, people are always looking at, okay, what's the agenda here? Like what, you know, what's the other side of this? And that's a hard thing for people to accept sometimes. And that can be a burden and a struggle. So how are you able to maintain just continuing to not get discouraged by just moving that way?
I feel like for me, the perfect story is when I first moved here. Yeah. Landed, didn't know a soul. Yeah. I went to Deadstock Coffee. First day, within 24 hours, still some Wi-Fi. I'm like, okay, I'm just bang out some work real quick. Right. I heard sneaker theme coffee shop. This is crazy. Yeah. I walk in and I see a bunch of like Allen Iverson stuff. I see this Eagle snapback. And I'm like, yo, who's from Philly? Right. Ian turns around slowly and goes like, my mom is. And I don't know that he's the owner. I didn't do any research. I just heard about it. Yeah. And me and him just started talking. It was Ian, Terrence Watson, Isai, all them, like, shout out to them. Those were like my OGs. Yeah. Like those three, I joke around, I'm like, y'all like the three wise men. Like, I came in and y'all like really took me in. Yeah. And he literally, what I mean by I was going to spend like an hour being in there. Yeah. And I ended up spending 6 hours in there. Ian introduced me to every single person that walked through the door. Yeah. Every single person. Yeah. It was like, but what's crazy is, for me, being where I'm from, I'm like, yo, like, what do you want? Like, what's your agenda here?
Right,
like,
right. What's the angle?
Like, this is so weird. And it's sad. It's really sad that we have to feel that way. Yeah. Like another brother just showing you love. Right. Is just, it's like mind-boggling. Because a lot of places where we're from is crabs in a bucket. Yep. I have this thing with Portland where, like, it's genuine love out here. Like, I've lived in Philly, I've lived in Jersey, New York. Like, it could be crabs in a bucket. Everyone's trying to do the same thing, but you know, it's like, nah. But here, folks like genuinely want to see you win. Yeah. And it's so, like, I will forever love Portland. I will forever love the people of Portland. Yeah. And that's honestly like why I do what I do. Like, literally, it's just so pure. As somebody, like, my first experience here, and be connected with those gentlemen so early, and we're like, you know, tied in. And you kind of have to. It's always a bit of a risk because you gotta let your guard down.
You do, yeah. You gotta be vulnerable, which is not easy, especially like truth be told, man. I mean, you speak on some things that truly are not, don't necessarily come first when it comes to black folk, right? I don't tell people I don't like people in my business, so I'm not going to talk to nobody, right? And so then we just try to deal with these things ourselves, and then oftentimes make poor choices, poor decisions in terms of how to manage some of these issues. I can't let nobody in. I can't trust nobody. So like you're talking about, when somebody is showing you love, it's like okay, let me be on guard. But you have shown that, like, if you allow yourself to build with individuals, great things can come from that, in terms of building community, and then you're able to impact other people through that process. So once again, bro, like, not because of anything that you say, not because of anything, like, it's not that you're preaching, you're just living that life, and it's coming through, and I think that that's so dope.
It's been truly like a blessing. Like, these 4 blocks, like Chinatown, I look at it, and it gets a bad rep. People see, the houseless population and whatnot. My first time being here, it was like Amsterdam from The Wire for a second,
Yeah.
like Kensington and Philly, like, folks just out here. But, at the end of the day, they're people.
Yep.
And, to have a run club, like, or to do certain things in this area. Homie's got business. Chris has laundry. Mikey and T got Unspoken and Index.
Yeah.
There's produce right there.
Yeah.
It's just the community around here is so amazing, and they've shown me so much love and it brought me in. It's like, I'm always going to try to have something in Chinatown. I don't care who says it's crazy or, like, if you scared of, my old adage is, you can't be scared of people.
Right.
Like, I don't know about a lot of people. I fear God. I don't fear nobody.
There you go.
I fear God. I don't fear another person.
Right.
Like they are literally people. So when we got people running around downtown and whatnot at 7:00 at night, or we have folks, kind of straggle into that mix, and we've had some I wouldn't say issues or altercations, but there's been some events.
Yeah.
And you just handle them accordingly.
Yeah.
So I feel like even just that, like, just from the essence of just a person, just seeing people.
Yeah.
It's been like the whole thing, and I feel like now people just coming down here and being comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can come down here.
Right.
It isn't what I hear and everything.
Right.
It's like, oh, come on. Like,
but bro, like, I mean, that's such a great example of the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
Like, the bigger picture is how we judge people from afar, and how we have these ideas and this division that we deal with in this country, on this planet. So much of it is because people aren't willing to do what you just described, right? I'm just assuming that that's the way that it is, or I heard that that's the way that it is. But once you say, no, let me go and just let me be in that space, and you understand, oh, I can't believe everything that I've heard, right? Mm-hmm. If I spend time getting to know people, getting to connect with people, bro, like, I'm like you, B. Like, I moved up here from most recently from Louisiana, man, and moved up here and got married, and, like, no blood relatives. Like, it's me and my wife, period. You know what I'm saying? So same thing. Like, I had to get out in the community. I had to, get to know people and be open to that. And it is, you do understand that, man, when you create vulnerability, when you humble yourself, when you just say, like, I want to build with cats. Beautiful things happen, man. And I hope that people that are listening or watching this get that from 2 examples of individuals who chose to go that route, man.
I feel like you gotta build, like, and it's in a way where I feel like people connect with each other. And it's like, I'm gonna hit you, I'm gonna build.
Right.
But, like, then they don't build.
Right.
So
right.
To be able to back that up as well has been, like, huge. Like, just the great brothers in the city I've connected, like, DJ Ambush. Like,
yeah, shout out to Ambush.
Shout out to Ambush from the crib. Man, Ambush actually knows my older cousin. He goes by Fame. He's a B-boy back in Philly.
Yeah.
And he was just like, Fame's your cousin? I was like, yeah, TJ. I was like, that's my cousin. He's like, what? It's just like connections like that. We 3,000 miles away from the crib.
Yep.
And, you know, this stuff that we're talking about, and Ambush is a bit older than me.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom used to work at Ernst & Young, Twin Towers, like Twin Towers in Philly. They have like these financial towers. They look exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I used to be like downtown a lot, Center City a lot.
Yeah.
My mom used to work there, and I used to have to, you know, summertime going. My grandmother used to come and pick me up, like taking the bus all around the city. Somehow make it back to Jersey.
Yeah.
No idea. I done took the L. I done been in the Boulevard, Huntington Park.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is like that I literally watched that scene. Like I watched like people skate at Love Park, like seeing Stevie Williams skate at Love Park.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I would talk to people like Ambush, or talk to a good friend of mine. Shout out to Richie Rojas. Like, he's one of the largest New Balance collectors in the world, but he's done amazing human being first and foremost. He's done a ton of different things from music, and he's so humble.
Yeah.
We would have conversations when I worked on 16th and Wall at the New Balance store, and he was just like, bro, like, how old were you? You had to be like a child.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like, hey, you were about like what, like 20? I was about 8, you know. But it's just things that just been embedded in my mind to the point where it's, you know, that culture and that essence, and to be able to like, when I connect with folks, when I connect with people like you, it's just like, whoa, like, it's kind of like that back home thing where you just kind of go into a time pool.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's just, I mean, I think that's powerful. And I think to be open, and that's the thing, man, to be open and listen to your heart, and listen to, I mean, whatever you want to call it, when you recognize where people are really coming from, right? You can recognize people's sort of true heart and how people move, and build on that, man. And that's dope. I mean, that's how we make a difference, and we make a difference in our local communities with our local connects, and then it just builds from there.
Yeah.
I would be. So you mentioned Deodora. It's funny, B, that you worked for Deodora. I remember back in the day, copping a pair of Deodoras. I mean, this was like in the late '80s, man. That's what I was on. Talk to me about sneakers, man, and like your connect.
So, like Deodora was crazy is a lot of people don't realize. I feel like out here, since it's so, you know, Nike and Adidas.
Right.
Great. I think On just came out here. It's Columbia Sportswear, but like people don't realize like Deodora is like that was like the shoe, like that was like the real dope boy shoe. Like you had like Rich Porter was an avid Deodora fan. For y'all don't know who Rich Porter is, look him up. You've watched probably Paid in Full, like y'all probably watched Paid in Full so many times.
Right.
It's just like, who is this based off of? Well, but literally, like, there's pictures of Rich Porter we got with like Deodoras. My dad had Deodoras. Like, there's a picture of him with the same Mavericks on. I got those pairs, and I actually took another picture on a corner. He was up in he was in Chestnut Hill in Philly. He took a picture. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take one on the block out here.
Word.
But like, man, so like that was, I think my introduction to sneakers was just always my father.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing about him. He made sure like like I had some like J's, all the J's and whatnot.
Right.
And also like the mom and pop stores, we had a nice, when that was a thing, you know, when they was getting like the new Air Force Ones, all that stuff.
Right.
Like we really like had like, oh snap, this is coming out. Yo, we'll be there.
Yeah.
And it was just like that. We had a sneaker, there was a sneaker store in Jersey, in Turnersville, that was connected to, the shop next to it was like a cigar spot.
Oh, word.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But then you got spots in Philly, like Young Sneaker Import, like spots like that you can just go grab kicks. It's a lot different now with the sneakers apps and whatnot.
Right.
But you know how that was. And then I started working for Foot Locker when I was, my freshman year in college.
Yeah.
But like I always had a thing for sneakers. And fortunately, my feet stopped growing. I wore a 13 at 13.
Dang, dude.
And I stopped.
Yeah.
And it was like the best thing ever because like I was pretty skinny.
Yeah.
And like to be 13 wearing a 13, it was I had to become really good at cracking jokes.
Right.
Because people were trying to flame me every day. And I was like, nah, I ain't going out like that.
Right,
my body eventually like grew
Caught up.
caught up, and I was like, "Whew, thank you." But yeah, like I think, yeah, that was really it. And I had different cups. I feel like there's not like I'm not like a brand when it comes to brand loyalty. I like what I like,
Right.
you know, which like I feel like sneakerheads today don't understand that. Like yeah, you be a sneakerhead, but you're a Nike head,
Right?
You're a Adidas head, like.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But like to see like certain sneakerheads that have like just range, pulling out like Asics, pulling out, you know, Sauconys, all these different things. It's like, yo, like to me, that's what real, like being a real sneakerhead was about. Like, yo, those are something like, you remember back in the day, I'm not trying to wear what the other person got on.
Yeah, that's true.
Talk about like
That's
you
true.
know,
Yeah,
like
that's absolutely true.
No, I'm trying to wear what other people got on. Like that's just how it was. Now it's just like, oh, we got the same thing as long as it's hype and somebody else's. It's interesting as long as somebody else is wearing it.
Right.
It like defines the coolness. When it was like, no, you just wore what you thought was cool, and people respected that because you wore it with in a type of swag like. Somebody say something to me, and people used to always be like, "Yo, what are those?" Like in a way that's it wasn't like, "What are those?" But like, "Yo, those are like Diodor's." Like what? I'm like, "Yo, this is Italian sneaker brands, Italian leather, like quality, you know, things like that." Like, wow, like tell me about it. I'm like, "Was you never like nobody ever told you about this?" But yeah, that's my whole thing when it comes to sneakers. Like, I love right. I think I got like some newbies on right now, but like. Yeah, when it come down to it, whatever I like, I like. You know?
Which is dope, B. And obviously things have changed. I think that, you know, we've often heard that you know, when the Jays came out, that really had an impact. You know, being a lover of hip hop, man, I have an affinity towards Adidas just because of Run DMC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, to a certain degree, I see what you mean, because now so much of we're exposed to so much, and we are told so much, right? That this is what's hot. This is what you should be on, and we see it in everything, right? Like doing stuff in radio. That's one of the reasons that I love doing radio. That way, that I have an opportunity to do it is I don't have to play what they telling me is hot. No, I'm introducing to you some stuff that you didn't realize. You mean, and at the end of the day, it does come down to like being understanding what style is. Style is not necessarily what you know, the mass manufactured whatever it is, whether it's clothing or shoes or music. Style is style. It is unique. It is something that elevates the music. It is something that elevates the art. It is something that elevates. So that's really dope that you break it down that way, because I don't think we talk about that enough.
You mentioned something that, like, you know, you play what you play. Like, remember when people used to break records? Like
100%,
like,
bro.
like
Come
people
on,
like.
Bruh.
If you don't realize, like the radio was you listening and you just like, dang, like it's a new artist, you know. But now, like it's just I gotta play the top whatever that's on like mainstream.
Right.
And to be honest, like me personally, I'm a bars type of person. Like all that, no shame to any like mumble rapping and whatnot.
Right.
But like I need bars. Like I love underground. Like I mean, we grew up where we weren't really listening, to be honest, like mainstream music. Like you think of like cats like Meek Mill.
Yeah.
Like listening, I remember like my MySpace just had just battle raps.
Yeah.
Like local, literally Philly rappers.
Yeah.
Along with other people I knew were on the same, like everyone was on the same wave. Like we were listening to, there's freestyles from like people like Meek Mill, Reed Dollars that folks my age and a bit older can literally, if somebody were to play, could rap it word for word.
Right.
And that wasn't something that was on your mainstream, right? Folks that had like the Bat Cave, my people in Philly, y'all know about that. Like folks come on, had these freestyles. These were like artists that, it's crazy. I mean, to get into music, there was I forget who said it. It might've been, I was looking at this documentary and somebody was like, oh yeah, you know, what's cool about everything is, you know, everyone can make music and be heard. That's great. The problem is everyone can make music and be heard.
100%, bro. That's what I be saying. Like it's so, you know, back in the day when I thought I was going to be, you know, I was going to have a career in music and I was going to be an MC and this, that, and the third. It was, you know, from that standpoint, having to get funds or have a connect and get in a recording studio, it was not easy necessarily, right? Yeah. And so when home studios became a thing, you celebrate that. But the problem with that is, like you said, then everybody can make a record, and then SoundCloud came up. So then I don't necessarily need publishing. I don't necessarily need promotion because I can just SoundCloud rappers, right? But I think what got lost in the sauce is then when you have artists like Homeboy Sandman, and you have artists like just taking the local scene, man. When I moved to Portland and I heard Lightheaded, Omega Watts and Braille, and I heard Lifesavers with Jumbo and Versatile, and I heard Cool Nuts, and I heard Luck One, and I heard these artists, and I thought, man, these are the artists that talk about lyricism, talk about style, talk about taking care of this art form that we love. That's what I'm saying, and I can say it because I have the platform of radio. That's what needs to be promoted. That's what needs to be put out there. You know what I mean?
And I have this thing where it's, hey, get your bag, get your money, get paid.
Yeah.
I ain't never going, but it's quality, and there's certain things that I prefer. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But I remember playing music, driving somewhere pregame, you about to go out. Mm-hmm. And folks are like, man, why are you playing this? I'm not trying to think.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you mean? This is base level real quick. And I'm like, the fact that you say that you have to think, see, that's the problem right there.
100%, bro. And it's funny, bro, because I be when I have an opportunity to interview artists, on the Mike Capes episode, the Cliff Notes, man. I think we talked about it then, but just even in private conversations with folk, I say like cats who are lyricists, cats who write rhymes that do take you someplace else. That's just not about the turn up. I know that artists have told me sometimes they don't necessarily want to come across as preachy and this, that, and the third. But I also come from an era where that was important culturally, right? When Public Enemy was making records, it wasn't just about entertainment. Right, it was that balance of entertainment. I mean, Run DMC to a great degree, right? Poor Righteous Teachers, X-Clan, these, and so for me to have artists like I mentioned, Homeboy Sandman, Rock, these artists, Rhapsody to a great extent, who are making music, but also, of course, from Philly, Black Thought. You know what I mean? So I so appreciate that. That I have the platform to continue to push that narrative that this thing, it's not just about entertainment, it's about education as well, which is dope.
Yo, you mentioned Rhapsody. Actually when I graduated with my master's, a caption is a bar from her that was like, I owe Sally Mae, but I owe my family way more. I was just like, I do.
100%.
But that right there, different bars and things is just, you mentioned Public Enemy. It's my parents are music junkies. Mm-hmm. So finals and stuff, they both have the original Thriller and whatnot.
Yeah.
Literally, they have that. They have you talking about Sugar Hill Gang, the Commodores. There was so much Earth, Wind and Fire, so much music around me to the point where I think of even jazz. My mom had Joe Sample and stuff in the car. It was crazy. So music definitely played. I feel like this. My parents used to they still go to a ton of concerts.
Yeah.
And my mom was pregnant with me when she went to go see a Far Side in concert.
Oh my gosh, bro, that's so crazy.
I think it might have been Bizarre Ride too.
Yeah, no doubt.
92, yeah, that's about right.
That's nuts, B. Well, yo, I first off, bro, I appreciate you doing this, man. I appreciate your heart. I appreciate what you're doing in the community, the connections that you have made, and how you're sharing those connections with the masses, man. And I want to encourage people to follow your movements, not necessarily to follow you as a human being, but to follow really what you're representing. So how should people tap in with you, man?
Please tap in with me. My IG is @_AM.1, the number 1, R_. DM me. I respond to DMs if it's a request. I try to follow people back as much as I can. I'm very much with connecting with whomever, whenever.
Yeah.
So
that's what's up, bro.
I have an open door policy.
No doubt, man. And then one more time, man. People who are trying to tap in with the Run Club.
The Run Club. Follow Deadstock Coffee on IG. You'll get all the information from there. I'm starting to get better. If you come through, we have a sign-in sheet that's digital. I got people's emails.
Word.
We're taking big steps. We're getting there. I used to have a sign-in sheet, but now I got the computer going.
There you go. That's what's up, man. Yeah. I'm gonna get out there, bro. I'm gonna get out there with y'all, man, and just join in the community. I think it's so dope. I'm excited to see how it continues to grow. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I appreciate you having me, and appreciate you just allowing your time, space, and all that.
That's what it's about, bro.
Much.
That's what it's about, man. All right, y'all. This is the crossover episode of the Cliff Notes podcast, and Fitness is a Habit, man. Check out my guy Amir. Man, looking forward to just continuing to build with you, man, and know that my platforms are here for you, bro. As you're continuing to do things, all you gotta do is say the word, reach out for real.
Definitely. I appreciate you, brother. Love.
Absolutely, man. It's nothing but love, man. Shout out to Chris and Laundry, man. If you're looking for a dope spot to find some dope vintage gear. So everybody who's watching the visuals, man, you see what we got hanging up here, representing Philly, Doc J on the wall right there, and they got the Eagles cap in the background, as well, man.
Try to get another Super Bowl.
Right across from me, y'all can't see it, man, but they got the Blazers jerseys like all lined up. I see child to adult sizes, man. So come through the Laundry. Yo, Chris, what's the Addy? 140 Northwest 4th. I'm gonna put it in the I'll put it in the show notes, man. This is a dope spot. Once again, man, shout out to my guy Mike Capes for turning me on, and it's just so dope to be in the spot, man. So like I said, man, it's the crossover episode, Cliff Notes, Fitness is a Habit. I got to give a couple shout outs, man. Big ups to Acapella Apparel for their support of the Cliff Notes podcast. Check them out at acapella.com, AKEPELE.com. They got dope gear, man. They got tees, they got sweats, they got hats. I've been talking to my guy Renz. I know they're working on some new stuff. Look out for another pop-up coming soon. I gotta say thank you so much to people who are supporting Mic Check. We getting ready. By the time this drops, Mic Check will have happened for Hip Hop Week. But I gotta say thank you so much to Cascade Record Pressing, to Ear Trumpet Labs, to Green Muse for their support of Mic Check. Check them all out, man. Ear Trumpet Labs, Cascade Record Pressing, and Green Muse Cannabis. Big ups to X-Ray FM. Big ups to The Numbers FM. Big ups to Jammin' 107.1 or 107.5 FM for their support. Big ups to the homie DJ OG1 for all that he continues to do to support DJ Cliff Productions. Last but never ever least, man, big ups to the homie Theory Has It for continuing to support with dope, with the themes, man. Nice on the production. Check them out. Theory Has It, theoryhasit.com. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tapping in. God bless you. I love you all. Until we have an opportunity to do this again, peace.